Alright, this is my next video in the series of pulling the engine out of my 38 Plymouth. The next step today is to, I'll take the seat out, take the floors out, front floors, two floor pieces, drop the tranny. I'll do it myself. It's not hard work, it's not difficult, pretty simple. The tranny's not heavy either, so my engine will sit for now. Took the head off in the last video, as you know. I just got it covered up with an old pillowcase here just to keep the dust out. And let's move ahead and get the tranny out so we can get this engine out. Here we go. Alright, so to get the tranny out, or the transmission, I should say, if we don't offend anybody. One of the great things about this old car, and you know what, I gotta say, it's one of many great things. There's these old cars just keep giving and giving and giving, man. They're so fun. They're so cool. There's lots of great things to mention, but I'll just talk about it as I go through it here. There's a really awesome way to get good access to clutch, tranny, driveline, wiring harnesses. Look at that. It's fantastic. There's my park brake right here. My lever for it. There's my battery ground right there on the side of the tranny. It comes up to here. Speedo cable, shifter, some wiring over here. Not sure exactly what you can see with that camera, but anyways, I'm going to unbolt my tranny, drop it out. From start to finish, I can get the seat out, the floor out, the tranny out, everything out of the way, drive shaft off in probably about an hour. It's just a great system. Thanks, Plymouth engineers. You done good. Alright, so as you can see, I've unbolted the drive shaft. Just going to slide that right out of the way. And maybe there is something to talk about here. Inside this end of the drive shaft here is this is the trunnion, or U-joint. There's a spring in there. And if you actually try pushing on the drive shaft, it springs a little bit. I don't know if I can do that. Get moving there. And if that spring is broken inside of there, it makes a funny rattling noise, a little thunking as you slow down and you come to a stop and you hit the brakes. So the brakes start to slow the car down, and the momentum of the car starts to push the drive shaft and put forces on it this direction, and then it just rattles. So there you go. Little tip. If you can't find a funny little rattling noise, look for the spring inside of there. It was broken. Mine was, and that's what fixed it. So let's go under the car. I want to show you a couple things. It's going to be tight under here. Get my light. Just for the folks who are following along, there's some people actually here following along, subscribing. I learned they're just here for the entertainment value. I didn't think I was that entertaining, but there's a few people that want to watch just for the sake of being entertained. So whatever, let's talk about some neat things here. This is the back of my tranny here. And on the back of the transmission, there's a drum here, steel drum. This is the actual park brake band. When you pull the park brake lever, you pull this forward, and that puts pressure on a fulcrum here and pulls the band tight on that drum. So it's park brake, emergency brake. You're actually braking the output of the transmission and the drive shaft right here. So just for those curious, this is what Chrysler did. This little here, I want to point this out. This is something interesting. So this is the counter shaft of my transmission that goes through. I've talked about this in other videos. It's just a lock plate here, and this is the main shaft for the transmission. No, that's the reverse gear shaft right there, and this is the counter shaft. These things are just pressed into place, and they tend to leak. And you can see here, I put a little bit of silicone there, a little RTV silicone just to seal that up. Just a little tip for the folks, the kids watching at home. Your tranny's leaking out here. There's no gasket. There's nothing there that seals that. Just a press fit. So put some silicone on there. rear motor mounts here on the bottom of the bell housing. These bolts are coming out. They're a little long. I've replaced those bolts earlier this year. 2 motor mounts, one here. There's a rubber on the top and the bottom, and one here. I'm going to release those. I'm going to pull my tranny out, and then we're just about ready to pull the engine. So there you go. There's the bottom side of my car. So there's still yet another panel up here that'll come out. And after you unbolt it, again, this is going to give you even more access. You can almost pull the engine through this way to get it out. It's pretty good. But I have struggled with this in the past. The first time I tried to get this out, boy, I struggled with it because it didn't want to come out. The trick, and it's not a trick, it's probably in the instruction manual if you read it. Most men don't want to read the instruction manual. You got to drop the tranny. You got to take the shifter off anyways. So there's 8 bolts here on the shifter cover. Shifter cover comes off, then this kick panel here comes out super easy. So these are just 1/2-inch bolts. Take them all off. Okay, this is the next little trick. I don't know if it's a trick, but I think it's in the manual. See, these used to be bolts. Same thread pitch as the bolts that go right in that hole there on the top 2 holes to mount the transmission. There's 4 bolts to mount the transmission. 1, 2, and then 2 on the other side. Take the top 2 bolts out. I should tell you a little story about these bolts. I bought these bolts. The head was up here. And my lovely wife, where she works, they have a nice metal bandsaw that I don't have. So I just gave them to her. She took them to work and she lopped the ends off for me. Guess I could have done it with a hacksaw, but sounds like a lot of work. So thanks to my wife for these. Just slide in. Just easily thread in there. And those are going to support my transmission when I slide it out. Line everything up, keep everything straight, won't put any stress on the clutch disc. You don't have to go in very far. Just hand tight. When I release, I put one in on the other side. So you can see my 2 guide bolts are in place, one on each side. I was just about ready to lift the transmission out, and I thought, no, I gotta drain the oil out first. I've done it before, I forgot to drain the oil out, and it ends up all over your floor because the tranny doesn't really sit flush. So unless you have a transmission bench or some kind of a special holder, drain the oil. And so I think I'm ready. Slide the tranny out. Guess the question remains is, do I go from the top or from the bottom? I think I could do it from either side. I know I've put it in from the bottom. Let's see what we can do here. I could probably pull it out. Just lay it on the floor, and as I mentioned, drain your oil, because when you lay it on the floor, boy, she's stubborn. Guess I'm not ready. All right, see how that nicely holds everything in place? All right, here we go. It's not that heavy, I've done it before. That's it. Tranny is out. Just like that. Next, motor mounts. my leg is caught. So don't be sticking your leg down there if you're in a hurry. There you go. Piece of piss. Nothing to it. Alright, that's probably all we're going to do tonight. It's 8:45. I got out here at about 7:30, maybe 7 o'clock, and took my time, made a video, screwed around, and I'm under 2 hours. Like I said, you could do this in an hour. Tranny's on the floor. Here's my seat. I'm going to take that out of the garage, make room for myself. Just fantastic cars to work on. Like, if anybody's watching this and is thinking about getting a vintage car, the old Mopars are just awesome. This 1938 Plymouth has been so easy to work on. I've said it many times before to my friends. It's just like going in a big go-kart, and it's fun. I feel like a kid building a go-kart when I work on this thing. It keeps me young, keeps me active, keeps my brain thinking, muscles moving, keeps me from doing a lot of other things I probably should be doing too, or could be doing. But this is a hobby and I do love it. So thanks for watching. Subscribe, and there's more to come. We're getting close to lifting the engine out. I think the motor mounts are next. Next video I should be lifting the engine out. Cheers. Have a good one.